Hi guys, welcome to Big Dell's tips for PNGBet on FBC. In round 20, there were some surprises, but then there were some blowouts. And for me, the Roosters, under man, under strength, no problems. Eels, no Moses, 28-0. And what about the Tigers? The Tigers, they could have won that game, but the Warriors found something, 18-16, and the Broncos in the local derby. The Broncos over the Cowboys, 37-18. Good to see Asako back to some of his best football and Ricky on that right edge. And what about the Knights? The mighty Knights, they have started to flex their muscle. They beat the Raiders 34-24. And what do we say about this team? The Storm. No matter who comes in and out, they know how to do a job. The Panthers were very much undermanned, 37-10. That was a good win by the Melbourne Storm. It's not bad when you've got Pappenhausen playing off the bench. And my poor old Dragons, honestly, my Dragons, they got absolutely walloped 50-14. So that's a tough one there, but the Bunnies, Latrell Mitchell, you are an absolute weapon. The Bulldogs versus Titans, the Titans 34-6 for Feeder. He's like under eights. He's like that weapon that just you give the ball and he'll do the rest. And the Seagulls on the back of Tommy Turbo, 40-22. Not only one try, not two tries, but three tries from that man Tommy Turbo. 40-22. Well, what a Thursday night clash we have for you. The Knights versus the Broncos. The Knights have got to keep winning. On the back of what they did last week, it was a wonderful game. We saw the real Knights stand up. Obviously, their middle third, three-side feeding that, the boys, the bookends, they set the standard. Their back row did the rest. And then the man at the back, Kalen Ponga, he's an absolute genius. What I like about Kalen Ponga is he has time on his side. So the way that he plays left and right, that's what they need. He's the X factor, but Mitchell Pearce, he's going to be the calming force in this team. You look at the Broncos. The Broncos played well last week against the Cowboys. They scored some points on the back of going wide, playing some expansive football, but also earning the right through the middle third. And if you look at a guy like Asako, he's a guy that you just got to have confidence in to do it. He's been dropped a couple of times this year. He's been up and down, but I think it's his best game. Why it's his best game? Because he backed himself. He was making breaks. He was catching balls left, right, and centre, and then he was the X factor on that edge along with Jordan Ricky. Jordan Ricky is a guy for me who's a wonderful young talent, but he's been a bit inconsistent as well. So hopefully Jordan Ricky keeps that form up. The Broncos, they wound back the clock. It was like the old Broncos. It was like back in the day when we played. But these young blokes, they got to stand up here because the Knights, they need this game. I think there's 5 teams on 18 points, and there's that 7th and 8th position, so it's going to be tight here. There's going to be a tight one, but I think I'm going Knights here. I think the Knights can win this. I think they're playing really good football. Mitchell Pearce is back. This is going to be a classic, and the people of Sunshine Coast, I know they love their football. They'll be turning out. 5 teams on 18 points, 11 versus 15. And if I have a look at the prices here, Newcastle Knights $3.25. I like that 1-12. But the Knights, they are raging hot favourites at $1.28. The Broncos $3.75. If you're a Broncos supporter, I can understand why you like the Broncos. They had some great players there. But I think Newcastle Knights, I think it'll suit the way they play, the expansive style of football. They'll work the Broncos over, hit through the middle. So Knights 1-12, I reckon is your best bet. Or if you think, mate, just a -10.5, that's not too bad at $1.90. So, but I'm going Newcastle Knights at 1-12. $3.25 is very juicy, and that's where you get your earn, I reckon. But the Broncos, you never know. The Broncos could turn it on again. That might turn the corner and have a bit of confidence there. But the Sunshine Coast ground too, it's a nice hard deck, and it's, I suppose, it's one of those grounds where you just love playing expansive football. We've seen South do it. When Melbourne Storm go there, they play some wonderful football, and that's why the crowd's entertained. It's always great energy. Oh, what a Friday night clash we got for you at Cbus Stadium. Geez, the Queensland people will be loving this COVID stuff down here in Sydney because we're certainly not. And the Dragons are taking on the Raiders. This is generally a local derby, and both teams love winning. I know, it just brings something extra to it. I know when I was a Dragon and played against the Raiders, there was an extra bit of spice in this game. And I'll tell you what's going to be a bit of spice. Jack Bird at fullback. Young Sloan, obviously unhappy game last week. Zach Lomax is back. So he adds some class, Zach Lomax. Obviously goal kicker, great skills. Freddie had him in the mix for the New South Wales side. Obviously, you won New South Wales anyway. But I look at this Dragons team, and there's still so many good players in there. Tariq Sims, Jack DeBellin, Andrew McCullough. And in a local derby, mate, you'd think the prices would be a bit closer, but the Raiders forward pack, this is where it's at. Papa Lee, Joseph Tarpany, Elliot Whitehead, these are the players that make the difference. Where I'm looking here, I suppose, I think the Raiders can get the Dragons here. The Dragons were pretty ordinary last week against a pretty strong Titans side, but the Raiders are $1.30, Dragons $3.50. Where I see the Raiders winning this is through the middle. They'll dominate the middle. I'd go Raiders 1 to 12 here at $3.40. But the Raiders, if you want them straight out, it's $1.30. The Dragons are nice juicy odds at $3.50. So I know there's a lot of Dragon supporters up there in Fiji and the Pacific Islands. So $3.50. And but I think for me, the Raiders, it's time to flex their muscle, and they'll be a bit dirty about their upset loss last week. And so I reckon they'll turn the corner there. This is the clash of the round. It's the Eels versus the Rabbitohs. Eel supporters are nervous. I get it. They got absolutely walloped last week by the Roosters. And the problem is they need Mitch Moses back there. But also their outside five. Sivo, he hasn't been the same. I'm not saying he's on Fiji time, he's on Island time. But on that wing there, he hasn't been aggressive. He's been up for a couple of years. He's been very destructive. Reminds me so much of Semi Radradra, who, congratulations, won a gold medal at the Olympics. Obviously, the Parramatta Eels boys would have been very happy to see that and up there in Fiji and the islands. Bulla Vanaka. And one of the things I like about their team is the balance is getting better. This is probably going to be their best back line for a long time. Clint Gutherson at the back. This is a potent outside five. This is their best back line, and this is where I think they can get the Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs, they're a talented back line, but it'll be played through the forwards. If I have a look at the back, Clint Gutherson needs to get more involved. When Gutho gets more involved, that's when the Parramatta Eels are dangerous. But you've got to punch holes through the middle and get that offload. And they haven't been doing that of late, the Parramatta Eels. I look at their side now, and that's right. Who's back? Guess who's back? Mitch Moses. Mitch Moses, what he offers, he offers composure. There was a few question marks on his ability to take him to the next level. This is why you pay Mitch Moses the big bucks. So he'll get this forward pack going forward. So if they go forward, I think Mitch can do his thing. But I look at this Rabbitoh side, and I've got to say, I think I said it before, I've waxed lyrical about this guy, Latrell Mitchell. I know we're talking about Tommy Turbo, week in, week out, and what he does, but Latrell Mitchell, if he's not scoring tries, he's not setting them up, he's saving them, he's catching high balls with one hand, he is in career best form, let me tell you. And respect to him, he's got his head right, he's focused, and a focused Latrell Mitchell, the Bunnies could go all the way. They're the team along with Manly in that sort of, bottom sort of section there that people keep talking about Melbourne Storm, people keep talking about Penrith. But these two sides, I think the Rabbitohs, they're more likely. I look at players like Dane Gagai, who's starting to play some consistent football, but their back line, this is what I like. Cody Walker versus Dylan Brown. Mitchell Moses versus Adam Reynolds. If that's not an appetite for success, what is? So those halves will control the game. But once again, the forward pack's where it's at. You got Cam Murray there. He's playing some good football. Young back rowers, Colin Matongi, and also Papa Lee. Mate, he's been outstanding. Those two have been two of the form back rowers through the competition. And it depends how they rotate the bench. But 28-0 last week. They got a few little scars, I think, the Parramatta Eels. And obviously, good win last week to the Bunnies, 50-14 over my Dragons. Very sad indeed. But I look at the prices here, and you know what, punters? If you like the Parramatta Eels, $3.25. If you like the Bunnies, it's $1.35. I'm telling you what, I think I'm going to go the Parramatta Eels here. I think for me, Parramatta Eels at $3.25, the Bunnies at $1.35. I know Wayne Bennett has got these guys running perfectly, but I'm taking the Parramatta Eels with the 8.5 start. I reckon they'll fire up here. So take the 8.5 start for $1.90, or if you'd like to, take the 1 to 12 for $4.50. But I'm taking the start because I reckon the Parramatta Eels are going to have to stand up. And Mitch Moses, this is why they pay you the big bucks. Stand up, son. I know you can. Hello, guys. It's me again, Wendell Sailor. Oh, I love footy. I love this time of the year. What's that I smell? Finals time. Well, only one of these teams is realistically in the mix, and that's the Sharks. The Sharks, they've been hot and cold. They've got some very talented players. William Kennedy has been outstanding. I think he's been the find of the season. The last couple of years, they call him Bubba Kennedy. He's done some good things. He's been in and out, but he's made the fullback position his own. I look at the Warriors. Warriors are playing some all right football. They got the Chockies last week against the Tigers. The Tigers, just when you think they're turning the corner, they let you down. And of course, they let me down. Of course, I tipped them, and of course, they lost. But for me, the Sharks here, mate, really well balanced back line. Mulatalo, I love the way Mulatalo plays. Chambers is back. And look at that forward pack, That's where they've been very, I suppose, aggressive through their middle third with their second phase with guys like Nakora. Talakai is an absolute beast. I think he started his career on the wing. Mate, not many wingers sort of go to the back row and turn into a beast like he does. So he's playing great football. So Braden Ueli, coming off the bench, he adds that other dimension there where they get the offloads going. So I look at this Warriors side. We know the Warriors side, it's talented. It's a good side. Reece Walsh at the back. Montoya, for me, is playing some good football, but I think, they've got to give him the ball more. And if this young player, Montoya, if he just backs himself and gets a bit more aggressive, he'll be sweet. The forward pack, it says it all. The forward pack are playing great. But the surprise for me is Ewan Aitken. He played great in the centres last week. He's playing on the back row. I'm looking at the prices. Sharks $1.37. I think that's way too short for this sort of game. I think the Sharks should be a bit more like 160, 170, and the Warriors $3.10. Well, to be honest, I can't tip the Warriors because whenever I tip them, they lose, and when I tip against them, they win. So, I don't know. For me, I just think the best bet here, the Sharks are still on the hunt for the top 8. They're in with that 4 or 5 teams for those last 2 positions. So, I'm taking the Sharks here, minus a 9.5 start for $1.90. So, but if you like a bit of value, you go the Sharks 1 to 12 for $3.50. It could be a close one, but I'm going to go on the side of the Sharks putting some points on. It's a very good field, Suncorp Stadium, and I reckon this will be a very expensive game. Oh, what a game we have for you Saturday. The Roosters versus the Panthers. The Roosters, just when people start writing them off, they just turn it on. And they turned it on last week at Mackay. As a Mackay boy, I was pretty proud to see that game of football there. A lot of great players come from that region, and it was really good to see the NRL go there and obviously spread the gospel of rugby league. And I think it's great for the NRL and it's great for the country areas because country football needs more money and it's dying. But let's get back to football. The Panthers versus the Roosters. Who I like here? Well, look, the Roosters are playing such good football. Their outside 5 are playing great, but I just think their forward pack just keeps moving on. They keep being aggressive. Jabari Hargraves, he's the man. He's the one that hits them from the front. He's the big alpha male. What he does is he gets the ball and he says, let's go, boys. I'm going to go straight. You come with me. And on the back of that, you've got Angus Crichton who's playing career best football and guys like Tupanua and Victor Radley. Victor, the inflictor. That's I've been lucky enough to coach Victor through his juniors. He's a wonderful young player and it's good to see him go so well. But I look at that back line. Like you got Tedesco at the back, Tupou. Kieran obviously in the centres. That's not his usual position, but he's a utility. But Joseph Manu. Let's just talk about Joseph Manu. So the Warriors offered him a 3-year deal, or they offered him a 3-year deal, $1 million a year to replace virtually RTS. So they want him to be their marquee player in 2023. Do I think he's worth $1 million a year? Yes, I do. We saw what he did last week in Mackay. He's a player that you want. But then we look at the Panthers, and the Panthers have got some great players too. There's no Bronto. Unfortunately, Bronto is injured and he'll be out for a while, but they've got such great depth at the Panthers. Charlie Staines is on the wing. He's a finisher. And then you've got young Naden. But I think the different one for me there is Kurt Capewell. There's some injuries there when Kurt Capewell's going back to the centres. We saw him do it in Origin round 1, round 2, of the first 2 Origins. Got absolutely schooled by Tommy Turbo, and then he's in the back row. But I look at this, mate, look at this forward pack. All the Pacific nations, this is where we should put more money. We're happy to celebrate the Pacific nations and the players in the culture of our rugby league. But look at this. Moses Leota, Api Coruscant. Well, Api's back. He's had a little bit of time out. You got Kickout there, and you got Sorensen there. So, but on the bench, this is the big one for me. Tavita Pangai Jr. Yeah, that's right. Big Tavita Pangai, the Tongan-born man there. And he was one of those players that He's just, when he's on, he's such a beast. Watching him go head-to-head with the likes of Tukiaho and Tupanua is going to be the worth of price of admission alone. I can't wait. Then if you have a look at the markets, actually, you know what, to be honest, just be careful of this, guys, too. In the reserves, Nathan Cleary has been named to 21. So for me, I think what they're thinking is he might come onto the bench. He might come on the bench for one of those forwards, and that way they'll move him back in, because the Panthers are a better side with Nathan Cleary. A couple of weeks ago, before he got injured, I just thought, mate, the Panthers could really press the Melbourne Storm, but they're just a different side when he's not there. I look at the price here. The Roosters, $3. Mate, you know what I think? Winning form is good form, $3. That's a good price for the Roosters. The Panthers are $1.39. I don't think they're a $1.39 team. If Nathan Cleary was playing, they're probably more of a chance than Brighton To'o. But look, for me, the Roosters 1 to 12, $4.50. That's real nice odds. Or you could take the Roosters 9.5 start. So what do? Do I take the plus 9.5, or do I go the Roosters 1 to 12? Well, since I'm a betting man, I'm going to go the Roosters 1 to 12 at $4.50. That's right. I think the Roosters can win this one, even though the Panthers need to bounce back. Mate, there's no certainty here, but this will be an absolute cracking game. Strap yourself in. We've got a ripping game on our hands. Well, what a game we have for you. The Seagulls versus the Melbourne Storm. The two informed teams of the competition. A lot of people are saying the Seagulls might be able to win it from that sort of bottom sort of part, but they want to get to the top four here. Here's a good chance. You know how you do it? Knock off the Premiers. I think the Storm are going for 17 in a row or something. That is unbelievable. Mate, well done to Craig Bellamy. He sets a standard at a club like the Melbourne Storm, and the players certainly follow. So there's a lot of good points to this game, but look at the fullbacks. Tommy Trbojevic scored a hat-trick last week. He was unstoppable. If he's not scoring them, he's setting them up. Even Nico Hines, he's been one of the form players of the competition. So for me, they're the two carrots in this. They're beautiful diamonds, and they are playing outstanding. They get their confidence from the back, both these teams, but their forward packs are really aggressive, but their halves are going to have to control this game. I look at where Melbourne are going to win, and it's got to be through that middle third again, but they can play that expensive style. The good thing about Melbourne is they've got a plan A, B and C, and if that all fails, there's a plan D. I think Manly at the moment, they've got a plan A, plan B, and they struggle a little bit under the pump, and we've seen that before. But look, if you look at the prices and stuff, I look at it, and this is not easy, this game. But Justin Olam, for me, he's been the most improved player in the competition this year. I tell you what I like about Justin Olam. Start of the year, he made a couple of mistakes. He probably should have passed the ball. He's learning to pass it now. He doesn't have to overplay his hand, and that's on the back of getting coached by someone like Craig Bellamy. He would have tipped him up to that. But the halves, this is what whets my appetite. Cameron Munster versus Kieran Foran. The young superstar versus the old star, the old stager. And DCE, mate, as we know, Queensland captain up against Jerome Hughes. Jerome Hughes obviously playing some wonderful football. He complements his side so easily. And their forward pack, this is, when you think of a title fight, these forward packs are a title fight. I know we talked about Penrith and Melbourne Storm last week, but this is the title fight. When you talk about some of the Pacific Island boys coming through the culture of the game, Paseka, he's one of the most improved young players in the game. I think he's 24, 25. He's taken a while, but front rowers mature later. And I've met the young man. He's got a big future. But then if you look at this back row, Olakawatu, Schuster, and Trbojevic, but big Martin Tapau. Martin Tapau has got to lead from the front. If he leads from the front and be really aggressive, they're a chance of winning. And Lachlan Croker, they haven't got to recognise number 9 merely, but it certainly is paying them dividends, because at the back, Tommy does his stuff, and those young backs are doing a good job there with Saab, Harper. Ruben Garrick's having a wow of a season, kicking goals. But you look at this Storm side, where can you stop the Storm? Where can you stop them? Mate, if they get an injury to Nico Hines, then you've got Pappenhausen who comes off the bench. I just can't stop talking about the Storm. Cameron Munster is a wonderful player, but Josh Adokar, one of my favourite wingers, for some reason I like big outside backs and I like fast backs. Josh Adokar, for me, he is a player that has set such a standard this season. I think in the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to be talking about Josh Adokar in the same set we talk about Brett Morris and Eric Gross Sr. He's such a great finisher. We look at the bench. The benches complement themselves too. Harry Grant and Pappenhausen, classy team. Where I see this Melbourne Storm, I think Melbourne Storm will keep rolling on. If you like Manly, $3.75. Melbourne Storm at $1.28. Where am I going with it? I'm looking at the prices there. If Manly are going to win, it's going to be a tight one. We saw a couple of weeks ago that the Broncos took it to the Melbourne Storm in a tight one. They got home. I think Manly could take it to the Melbourne Storm, but where I put my money, I'd be taking the Melbourne Storm 1 to 12 for $3.40. I think this will be closer than what people think. So Melbourne Storm 1 to 12, and I reckon Manly, they're going to flex a bit of muscle here. They're going to show the competition they're the real deal. And on the back of Tommy Turbo, they want this, and they want this bad. Yeah. The Bulldogs, they've tried really hard, but they just haven't got the firepower. Next year, Matt Burton comes, and that man there, Josh Adokar, I love the Fox. Their forward pack is trying hard, but they're just getting out-muscled, outgunned. And the West Tigers, well, the West Tigers, just when you think they turn the corner, what happens? They tighten up. They should have won that game last week, and that's going to cost them a little bit, I suppose. You know, Adam Dewey has been outstanding this season. I look at their big forward pack. Their back rows have been good. Leilua and big Thomas McKaylee in 13 there. But off the bench, Joffrey Gowie's been great too. So where I see this being won and lost, obviously it's that expansive style of football. I think there'll be plenty of points in this game because the Dogs' defence isn't great. The Tigers can score points but can leak them too. So I look at the prices here. The Dogs $2.75. I think they should be more than that. The West Tigers $1.45. So, you know, they're giving them a bit of a chance, but I think the easy money is to go the West Tigers here, minus the 6.5 for $1.90. But if you think the Bulldogs can win, well, I reckon 1 to 12 in a tight one. $4.30 is juicy odds, but for me, I just think the Tigers, they got to try and stay in the mix for the top 8, but I reckon they'll get the job done. Well, the mighty Titans are up against a team called the Cowboys. This is not a local derby, but this is a Queensland team, so there's a bit of personal pride and ego on the line. The Titans have been really good this season, but I thought they'd be a lot higher up. I was tipping them probably pushing for the top 4. Their consistency has been a problem. But I'll tell you one player who has been consistent is that man Brimson at the back. He has been very good. You can play him anywhere, fullback, 5'8", centre. He's a great utility. He gives you the energy, but I'll tell you who else gives you energy. What about this back row? Big Tino, David Fafita and Proctor. You know, there's a lot of Polynesian power there. The edge back row, they're doing their job. Tino likes taking the tough carries. David Fafita, it's like when you play under 8s and you watch, you know, someone get the ball and just run through the team. When Fafita's 20 metres out, you get the ball, you know he's going to go over you. But Fortawaker has been outstanding. They call him Mo because Mo knows. And I tell you who else knows. Jason Taumalolo. Jeez, I just think when we look back on some of the great players in the game, I just think this guy here, Taumalolo, you know, Tongan born, he's one of those players that we're just going to say, how good is this bloke for his size? But welcome back to Valentine Holmes. Valentine Holmes, I think he's been out since Origin, but they've got a strong back line. Their best back line, I suppose. Drinkwater, he's been their most consistent player for the season. He's done everything right in attack and defence, and even in games where they've lost, he's always competed. Cole Felton has been outstanding on the wing. But yeah, where I see this game being won and lost, well, the Gold Coast Titans are $1.30, the Cowboys are $3.50. Mate, I give the Cowboys a bit of a chance here. I'm going to take the Cowboys with the plus 11.5. I know the Titans have got a lot on the line and they've been tearing teams up, especially last week. But I just think the Cowboys, I know something about the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys can get close here just because the local derby, the pride. I played in a few of these, and even when you're not playing that well, there's always that sort of that mentality, like, you know, they're another Queensland team. So there's only 3 Queensland teams, and the Broncos, you know, they got the Cowboys last week. So I think the Cowboys, I think if it goes according to form, I just think the Titans, they're ready for a down week, and the Cowboys have got to step up. So, mate, I think for me, taking the Cowboys with the start, 11.5 for $1.90. But if you want to go and upset the Cowboys, 1 to 12, it's $5. But I think a lot of punters will be going the Titans 1 to 12. I think that's probably people's favourite bet, not mine. I just think Last game of the round. There's going to be a bit of an upset here. There's always upsets last week. There was 2 upsets last week. I didn't pick them. But you know what? That's what we do at PNGBet. We pick them, we try, we pick and stick. And thank you for picking me because I'm loving it. Hey guys, that's Wendell Sutter for PNGBet. Same time, same place next week. But before I go, can I say congratulations to my man, Sammy Radradra. Mate, he got a gold medal, but the Fijian men's team, I've seen you play in the Hong Kong Sevens. You guys are unbelievable. I'm a massive fan of what you guys do. It's great culture. And I've got to say well done to the women too. They got a silver medal, and I thought you were the better team in the final. So, Fiji, be very proud. Bullavanaka.